Welcome back to the newest and greatest and best and most awesome episode of Tusk Traditions. Up to date. Made a video a week ago. And from that Tuesday to this Tuesday, so much has happened and transpired. But nothing's changed. And I'm going to get into what that kind of means here in a second. So right after I made a video a week ago, the CFP the rankings dropped that night. The biggest surprise, shocking move is that Alabama jumped Notre Dame, which I agree with, and we had been talking about this on the channel since we started this, that we got ranked behind Notre Dame after the loss to Oklahoma. That never made sense to me. I'm biased, I understand that, but when you just look at the schedule, the strength of schedule, ranked wins, the only thing you could argue with us for them was who we lost to at the time with FSU, and that was the one thing they could circle. But just when you talk about everything else, the gauntlet we went through, 4 ranked wins in an SEC team that no one's ever done before in a row, all these things, it didn't make sense to me while we were behind them. And so, I think they finally got it right. It's just weird that it took so long. It took a bad performance at Jordan Hare to get us over them when they actually had a pretty good performance for USC that week. So it didn't make sense. I agree with it at the time. I thought it was awesome. Really what I think they were doing, maybe not be the right way to say this, but what they were doing was protecting Alabama no matter what happens in the SEC championship game. And that transpired this weekend. But, that was what my mindset was. It's almost like they did not want to punish Alabama for what was coming. And that might not be the college football playoff politically correct thing to say, but it sounds like what it was. So the protecting Alabama in the championship game. I said I was going to make a pregame video to Georgia. Got busy with the wedding travel. Thank goodness I didn't, because whatever I would have said would have been nothing close at all to what happened, and it would have been a waste of my time given the performance that Alabama trawled it out there on Saturday in Atlanta. It was embarrassing, wrong. It's just a sad day to be a fan of the red team in Tuscaloosa. Starting with the negative 3 rushing yards, that is insane. That is absolutely insane to let that happen. What is wrong with Ty? You have reports, nothing confirmed, reports that he's got a problem with a disc in his back or he's hurt. All these weird reports. LT Overton's batting an illness. That reports that I'm hearing it's a pretty severe illness, and then we got Josh Cuevas. Is it a broken foot? Is it fractured? There's levels to this. How bad's the fracture? Can we expect him back? We have no news on that. What's going on with Jam Miller? The team is giving us everything that they're legally required, I guess, NCAA rules to give us. They're not like they're not giving us breaking the rules or whatever, but it just seems like we're not getting everything. And why not? I don't know. But yeah, embarrassing performance. It was insane to see just how more prepped, ready, almost pumped up Georgia was for that game than we were. Nowhere near the extent, but felt like the Oklahoma game where we just gave them the ball on our side of the field the whole day. I'm pretty sure out of 3 of their 4 scoring drives started inside our 40. There was a play, 4th and 2 from our 12, down 2 touchdowns. I was in Charleston, watching this game with my roommate Jesse. And, that came up. And, I am always an opponent to go for it. I always say that. I told y'all that I wanted to go for it versus Auburn, 4th and 2, and not kick that field goal. And, when it went right, and I was telling y'all I wanted to go for it, look, it went wrong in this game. And I'm going to tell you, I said we got to go for it. And in that moment, me and him didn't talk about it. But after the game, we talked about it. And I was like, this is also Saturday night, so we didn't even know what was happening on the CFP selection show the next day. But Saturday night, we were talking. And I was like, look, man, you play to win the game. At that point, we had to go if we were going to try to win this game. And he looked at me and was like, look, I'm all for believing to the end. But at that point, it was damage control. Punt the ball. Your defense played kind of well. Don't let your defense give them the ball at the 15-yard line and let the score be even worse than what it was at that point. Because the only thing we really couldn't do was just get absolutely blown out of the water by Georgia. And that's kind of what happened. And so at that point, he's thinking, let's just play damage control. Let's punt here, maybe give up a field goal. When we go score, maybe the final score is 24-14. Looks a lot better than 28-7. And really that 7 they gifted us by, having 2 of those personal penalties, pass interference and roughing the passer, I believe. They gave us 30 yards right there. We couldn't have scored without it. And I went back and I said, what is wrong with Ty? Was hurt. Yeah. Also, receivers didn't help him at all. That one-on-one with Ryan Williams in the end zone on 3rd and 10, you're not playing. I mean, yeah, game didn't change. We weren't going to win. Why are you not coming down with that? Like, it baffles me, these plays that, we expect Ryan Williams to make. It's one-on-one. Go be great, too. Go get it. Go up in the air and go get it. And it just, funnels through his hands. Like, I'm not saying these are easy catches wide open, but these are catches I'm going to ask a stud wide receiver 1, 2, whatever you want to call him, guy who's going to be playing on Sundays to go make. It didn't happen. And, same thing on that 4th and 10. Last time I think we had the ball. Yeah, last time we had the ball. Ty made, also, I haven't talked about the O-line. Couldn't block for him at all. Ty made a nice play to run for his life, get a third of the end zone that, went through receiver or Georgia's DB's hands, and I know he got tipped, but it hit Jerry Bernard in the chest. And, that would have just helped the score. And I know I was on the opposite side of what my roommate was saying, but that meant something. Scoring there meant something, and I knew that. We were talking about that in the game. And so just beyond frustrating. O-line, not only could we not run the football, we couldn't block for Ty. I mean, I felt like they brought, good pressure, good looks, good stunts up front, but it just felt like every time we dropped back to pass, there was a guy putting hands on him, running in his face, and that just sped him up. He was missing targets, making just boneheaded throws. Like, why are the 4th and 2? Are we throwing this 40-yard pass that's going to go 2 yards in north and south to the out route that went over, I think, Jerry Bernard's head, Stuff like that, what are we doing? Also, throwing rockets out of the backfield to our running backs, trying to get out in the flaps. Let's get the ball to your playmaker, let them make a play. So, just frustrating. Frustrating day. Not at all what I thought we were going to see. I didn't feel great about the game. I always believe in Alabama, where we're at preparedness level, but it's hard to beat a good team twice. I know Nick Saban says it doesn't matter. He's got a good quote on that, but I just know it's hard to beat a good team twice. So, I was just really nervous for this game. Might be a loser mentality, but really my mindset, let's try to win, obviously, but let's keep the game close and let's leave no doubt for Sunday selection that we're in. And we didn't do that whatsoever. And after the game, I, realistically said to the group, this is just hey, I'm going to realistically, as a college football fan, tell you what I think about that game. They're my friends. We're all just, we're there for a wedding, so it's me and my girlfriend, all my friends and his girlfriend, all that. So, and they're all Bama fans except for one's an Ole Miss fan. But we're all, talking about the game. And I was like, being a college football fan, I don't want to see the Alabama team play again. I mean, that was horrible. It was a boring game. They didn't do anything offensively. They looked bad. If I'm just a Miami fan or, fill in the blank fan, that team was boring. I want to watch them again. They look hurt. They don't look inspired. I don't know what that was. And so that part of me was let's keep them out of the playoffs. I'm a fan. Now, on the other side of being a fan, I don't want to lose the meaningfulness of conference games or championship conference games. And I felt like that might happen if they left Alabama out, just because next year, if we're the number 1 seed again in the SEC and we already have 2 losses and we got to go play, whoever the other good team is next year, Texas A&M, Georgia, LSU, Lane Kiffin, fill in the blank. I want to sit at home. I want to pull an Ole Miss. I want to pull an Oklahoma. I want to pull an Oregon. I want to sit on my couch and watch those teams play on Saturday, and I'll eat my popcorn knowing I'm going to the playoffs tomorrow. I'd rather do that. And I think if we had been left out, there would be serious talks of the SEC doing away with their conference game, because why play it if it's only going to hurt you? So, fast forward to what I'm talking about, the rankings coming out, and we stayed at 9, that was because of that. Now I'm going to go back to what I was talking about, night before. As a football fan, I said all that, and then I was but as an Alabama fan, I want to be in because I know there's more in the tank. I know we have better than that. I know that's not the level we can play at. I know we can discover more if we can just get an extra few days to get healthy. So I knew that was a thing. It's just kind of not always in life do you get a second chance, third chance, whatever you want to call we're at right now, to prove yourself. And so, I think that that was kind of what I told them. The rings come out, I just had a pit in my stomach. It reminded me a ton of 2017 when we got in over Ohio State. When they played and won the conference championship as a 2-loss team, and we didn't sit at home, we got to go in. So, it benefited us that year. So, that's just kind of the college football. I have so many just complaints to the college football playoff selection. Also, Look, it's fun to have these storybook teams, but like, why is JMU and Tulane in? Like, maybe y'all can clip this, make fun of me in a few weeks if one of them pulls an upset, but I don't see it. I don't see any way they can maybe keep the game close. And and your other options, Duke. I mean, yes, Notre Dame, but Duke won the championship, and they had to be considered, and they're a 5-loss team. So, like, what are we doing with the auto bids for conference champs? Get rid of that. Let's do the 12 best teams. And honestly, I thought even when 12 went to 12, I thought it was too much. And Alabama's a beneficiary of it going to 12 this year. But I think that's too much. I would have loved to see 8. I would love to see what stay at 4, or what stay. That this year would be a perfect for 4. It's crazy an Alabama fans saying that, but the teams that actually deserve the right to be there seem like they're in the top 4 this year. So all that aside, all frustration aside, number 9 is awesome. We got a great draw. Let's go do some damage. Let's go cause chaos. Let's go do something maybe no one's ever seen. Let's go on this dark horse run. Let's do something great. Let's do something awesome. If you want to talk about a rematch, hard to beat a team twice. Just said it. Let's go beat Oklahoma. When the line came out, shocked we weren't a favorite. I really think we should be a favorite going into this game. I think we're going to play like it. I think we get healthy. And I really, really, really am excited for that game. Friday night, prime time, I think it's 8 p.m. Central or 8 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be pedal to the metal. I'm so excited for it. Let's not beat ourselves like we did last time. There'll be a video on that, of course, before. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but let's say Alabama plays like Alabama. We win that game. Next week, Rose Bowl, Indiana? Come on. That is sick. Fire me up about that. Anytime you get Alabama playing in the Rose Bowl, that is awesome. Like, storybook it. It's in our fight song. Like, I can't wait for the opportunity just to play in that. Like, I understand we got to beat Oklahoma first. Like, don't get ahead of myself. But just looking ahead at what all this can be, and that's what fans do. And let's even go further than that. Next round will be playing in Atlanta in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl versus maybe Texas Tech, Oregon, JMU. Nah, not JMU. Texas Tech or Oregon? I mean, come on. That is a great path. I would really love to stay away from Georgia and Ohio State as long as I can, and that's what it would be to the championship. It's weird to say this, and I really don't. I'm not trying to disrespect Indiana, but if you could give me if I could pick a team to play that I think Alabama matches up well, it's Indiana. Out of the top 4, not just in general college football, out of the top 4 teams that we could possibly play in the next round, I would handpick Indiana. I was sitting on this couch when the rankings came out, and they put Oklahoma at 8, and they were going to do 9 next. And I remember thinking, not going to happen because we're going to have to get punished for losing the game at least one spot. But I would love 9. I said that to my roommate Jesse and my girlfriend. I was like, I would love 9. Not thinking anything of it because I saw the path already. Like, that's a great path. Love 9. And then they flashed our logo on that screen, and it was a moment of jubilation, cheering, and celebration. It was an awesome moment. So yeah, excited for that. Disappointed at what happened last week, but it's almost like burn that tape. Let's go win a playoff game kind of thing. Fire me up for this. I'm excited. It's going to be awesome. Got some time to get healthy, extra rest, scheme for Oklahoma, and just go and get ready for a playoff run. That's really fun. All you can ask for is we're playing meaningful games in December and hopefully into January. And so Alabama's doing that right now. Go for Coach DeBoer. I think it was really big to make the playoffs in year 2. I saw a cool little graphic that it talked about Nick Saban's first 2 years and Kellen DeBoer's first 2 years, and Kellen DeBoer has 1 less loss. State of the programs were different, but it is something to look at. Don't run them out of town with the pitchfork just yet. But that's gonna wrap up today. I feel like it's been like a vent session to y'all guys and talking about what's to come and exciting things that are on the horizon. So yeah. Oh, Baylor basketballs. I feel like that's always the end of the video, and it will become a bigger factor. But we're playing well. We boat raced UTSA the other day. I think it was like 97-56, something like that. That was fun. A big one this Saturday in Birmingham. That's where I reside. I'm going to try to go to the game versus number 1 Arizona. It's going to be a great environment in the BJCC. So we'll keep going that way. Basketball's doing their thing right now, and it'll become, like I said, I always say it's going to become a bigger factor when football ends, and hopefully it ends in the middle of January. But that's going to end it for today. Roll Tide, and I'll see you guys later.